Hey Raw readers, it's time for part 15 of The Land of Raw. Now the last time we were reading together, Wyn and Arthur they'd pretty much conquered Dragonfly, much to Arthur's surprise and delight, I think. But as with most chapters, there is the good, then there is the bad, because they also saw some spies that were crows, which we can only deduce that they must be Crokey's spies. Now I'm just going to show you this little fella in here. This is my bookmark, and one of the children in my class made me this bookmark, so I thought I'll use it because I keep losing my page. So that's my beautiful bookmark there. So I'm just going to move it out because I will get a bit confused. Okay, chapter 31. Vlad circles over the dojo. What are they doing? Says Wyn, peering down. The Lost Girls have been busy since we left. They're scurrying about all over the dojo, rolling stones into place and digging up great mounds of earth. Their previous smooth training area now looks like a building site. Making the magic road! Look, there's the tunnel! I point at a place near the trees where a girl's head is poking out from a tarpaulin. And over there, where they're piling up earth, that's the big rock where the dragons are going to pick us up. Those girls might be small, says Wyn, but they're strong and fast. He's right. We've only been gone a few hours, but already the Lost Girls have transformed the dojo, recreating a rough outline of the magic road, making it spiral in on itself so they can fit it all in. And that's after going on a 5-mile jog. Oh, gosh. Oh, formidable. There's just one problem, I say. Where can we land Vlad? As Vlad glides down, getting closer and closer to the dojo, I try to direct him towards a place with the fewest girls in it. Down! I urge, nudging him to the right. Then right a bit more. Down! It's all going smoothly. Vlad is preparing to land, talons outstretched, not too fast and not too slow. But then he sees Rose standing with Stella at the start of the magic road. He roars with delight, swings left and plunges towards her. Wyn and I scream. Rose and Stella scream. Then they throw themselves into a muddy ditch and Vlad crashes to earth. Wyn and I shoot over Vlad's head, land with a thud, then slide into Rose and Stella's ditch. Arthur! Yells Rose, wiping muddy water from her face. Sorry, but someone forgot to tell me how to land. The Lost Girls creep forward, fascinated by the dragon and the sight of Chief Stella covered in mud. Ooh, she does not look impressed. If any of you laugh, she says, squeezing muddy water from her vest, I'll take away 5 of your bracelets and put you on toilet pit cleaning duty for a week. No one laughs, except Wyn, and he doesn't stop until Stella gives him an arm burn. Our crash landing does have one unexpected benefit. The ditch was being dug out to provide realistic wateriness to the magic road, with the camp's water supply diverted to fill it. When Vlad heaves himself up and flies off to find Pickle, he leaves behind a vast crater which immediately starts to fill with water. After consulting the map, Stella decides that the crater will become Big Leap, the point on the magic road where there's a huge gap between 2 rocks. Now we can all practice doing the jump with a pool of water beneath us, just in case we don't make it. By now it's almost dark, so Stella issues dinner and tidying up instructions. But not you 3, she says, nodding at me, Wyn and Rose. You can stay here and finish the rocks round Big Leap. I'm exhausted and battered, but one look at Stella's determined face tells me there's no point arguing. If Rose is bothered about being stuck with me and Wyn, she doesn't complain. We watch the Lost Girls trudge into the tangled forest, then start adding rocks to the pile the girls have already made. Rose looks from me to Wyn. She takes in our burnt hair, our smoke-covered faces, and our bruises and cuts. So, what exactly happened to you 2? I touch a particularly painful graze on my cheek. We nearly died because someone told us to get on a dragon but didn't tell us how to fly it. Rose laughs. Yeah, but you didn't die, did you? We came close, I mutter, but then I can't help smiling. We flew through this archway in a rock rose. It was small and we had to fly Vlad on his side, but we did it and it was incredible. She heaves a spade full of muddy soil over her shoulder and slaps it down. I knew you could do it, she says. I slip my fingers in my pocket and wrap them around the carrot keyring. I decide not to mention it to Rose. She just did a kind thing for me, so I can do a kind thing for her. When it's totally dark, we abandon our digging and go down to the camp. We all agree that we're starving and can't wait to eat. Rose is pretty certain Stella mentioned something about beans on toast, and suddenly there is nothing I want more than a sloppy pile of baked beans on buttery toast. It turns out Stella actually said bees on toast, which is disappointing and very alarming until we're handed slabs of toast dripping with honey. As we sit round the campfire, licking honey off our fingers, Stella talks about Croaky. At first he stole things, our food, our weapons, then he came with the Scarecrow army and set fire to treetops. Luckily, the girls were out hunting, but he caught me in my treehouse and stuffed me, then left me for the girls to find. Ooh! She shudders at the memory and digs a stick into the embers of the fire. If he finds us here, I don't know what we'll do. I think he got really angry when he stopped flying. I look up with surprise. But he flew yesterday. He lifted me in the air. Well, I haven't seen him flying in ages, says Stella. Now that I think about it, neither have I, says Win. Stella shakes her head. That's not good. If he's flying again, he could be anywhere. Automatically, everyone's eyes shift from the fire to the canopy of leaves above us. Then Stella breaks the silence. Has he been to your cave, Win? No, he can't find it because I use camouflage and magic. Then he pulls out his wand, says, Whistle fur! And a single white marshmallow bursts out of the end of his wand. I'm not sure who's more surprised, us or Win. He proceeds to toast the marshmallow in the flames of the fire, then eat it slowly, pulling strands of goo off with his fingers, ignoring the big hungry eyes of the lost girls. Do it again, says one of the smallest ones, Clara tugging his sleeve. That was awesome. Really? Willie is so surprised to have genuinely impressed someone with his magic that he fluffs his next spell and produces first cherry tomato and then what looks like a bit of cheese. But after that he starts magicking up marshmallow after marshmallow and the lost girls creep closer and closer to him, hands outstretched. Oh, so would I. When Clara is eating her marshmallow, she suddenly says, Arthur, why are we saving this man? The question takes me by surprise. Oh, I say, because he's our granddad. She scowls. I know that, but why is he so important? I guess the word grandad doesn't mean much to Clara or the other lost girls. The only family they have are each other. I wonder how I can possibly explain that without Grandad and his fun and the endless games he let us play in the attic, there might never have been a Raw. I look at Rose for help, but she's staring intently into the fire. Now all the lost girls are watching me, waiting for my answer. Our Grandad is important because he believes in magic, I say. Then I stop talking. I have to. A lump in my throat and my eyes are watering. I could pretend it's because of the smoke from the fire, but I'd be lying. Okay, says Clara. Then she turns back to Win and holds out her hand for another marshmallow. Like Rose, I fall quiet, gazing at the flames until Stella announces that it's time for a wrestling bout. Apparently this is something the lost girls do every night before they go to bed, and soon logs are pushed out of the way and 2 girls are selected to take up their positions. I quickly discover that the lost girls take wrestling seriously, and it's a good distraction from my thoughts of Grandad. As they hurl each other to the ground, Stella circles them, offering tactical advice like, poke her in the eye now, and bite her, Flora, bite her! I notice Flora yells, hear me roar! As she slams into Nell. See, I say, nudging Rose. She doesn't think it's a lame thing to say. She rolls her eyes. Well, it is. After the wrestling, there's a short ceremony in which a lost girl is given one of Stella's loom band bracelets. The girl is small and has a long plait and is wearing a yellow t-shirt. I realise she's the girl who cut the ropes on the bridge. Presumably she's found her way back to camp and is now being rewarded for trying to kill us. But I still find myself joining in with the applause because she looks so proud when Stella slips the bracelet around her wrist. Next, it's biscuits and tea, then bed. Magic Road training tomorrow, says Stella, crunching thoughtfully on a biscuit. Then we'll travel to the start of the Magic Road during the night. She looks at Win. You're sure about when it appears? He nods. Twice a day, an hour before dawn and again 12 hours later. So tomorrow we train, rest in the afternoon, then set off for the bad side. She looks round the fire until her eyes settle on me and Rose. Then we go back to the crow's nest, fight Croaky and get your granddad back. She jumps to her feet, grabs Win's very last marshmallow and announces, bedtime! Chapter 32. While the lost girls settle down in their camp, Win, Rose and I go back to the dojo where we've tied hammocks between the trees. The dragons have decided to sleep up there too and are curled together between muddy rocks of the pretend Magic Road. And more stars come out. Win chatters on about how heroic we were riding Vlad, ignoring Rose's frequent request to, please shut up. Eventually he drops off, and soon his snores are competing with the low rumbling coming from the dragons. I can't sleep. I sway in my hammock, my mind stuck on Grandad. I've been doing this all day, counting down the hours, trying to work out just how long we've got left. I tell myself we've got time, that I need to stay calm and focus on getting into the crow's nest. But then I start doing sums again, and before I know it, I'm wondering if Grandad can feel cold or hunger when he's stuffed. If it's made his asthma better or worse, if he's frightened. I hate thinking that while I'm safe in my hammock with the warm stars shining on me. He's chained up in a cold dungeon. I hate thinking about this, but I can't stop myself, and soon I'm willing the night away so that we can get on with our training and set off for the crow's nest. Rosie's voice drifts out over the darkness. You awake, Arthur? I look over and see that she's sitting up, gazing towards the end. The stars are shining on the snow-topped mountains, turning them pink, then purple, then pink again. We never did get over there, I say. She shakes her head. It was always too far away. That's why we called it the end, because for us, it's where Roar ends. In the middle of the dojo, a dragon growls and flames roll towards us. Sparks drift past us like fireflies. Still think this isn't real? I say. Rose stares straight ahead. I can't. It's too frightening. People disappearing, the ground opening up, Croaky making an army and burning things down. We used to be in control of this place, but I don't know who's in control now. In the darkness, I see her hug her knees. I can't wait until we go home and can go back to forgetting this place ever existed. The ground starts to shake, slowly at first, then harder, as if the roots of all the trees in the tangled forest are twisting and turning. My hands tighten around the ropes of the hammock as leaves fall on us and the dragons stir in their sleep. Suddenly, I realise that exactly the same thing happened yesterday. Rose, I think you just made that happen. She turns to face me. What do you mean? The same thing happened when we landed on Mitch's Island. You said Roar wasn't real, and straight away there was an earth wobble, or whatever it is Wynne called it. So? Well, just then you said you didn't believe in Roar, and boom, an earthquake hits. But Roar isn't real, is it? Not like home. There aren't photos of it. It's not on any map. Right now we haven't got a clue where we are. There's a grumble of thunder, then a flash of lightning bursts from the sky and lands meters away from us. The dragon's eyes slide open and the hairs on my arm stand on end. Rose lets out a long, deep breath. Okay, that was strange. Shall I say something to test it out? No, don't even think it. If Roar comes from our imaginations, then maybe when we stop believing in it, it starts to fall apart and sinkholes open up and people disappear. Rose stares at me. Are you saying that things have gone? Mitch, the mermaids, the unicorns, they went because I stopped believing in them. I stopped believing in them too, until I saw Wynne in the attic and found the map. I'd almost forgotten about Roar. But not totally. No, I admit, there's something else. Wynne said that the big crack appeared on our birthday at dusk, and we both know what happened then. The dragon fight, says Rose, and I nod. I'd been out watching the new Star Wars film, and when I got back, Rose announced that she'd had a clear out and given Dad some toys to take to the charity shops. But they weren't any old toys. They were the models of dragons that we'd both been collecting for years. I flipped out, I say, remembering how I'd screamed in Rose's face, then charged into her room, looking for things of hers that I could give away. Me too. Rose had run after me, thrown me to the ground and sat on me. You said that you were never going to play with me again, I say. You said you hated me. And Roar nearly split in two. For a moment we stare across Roar. One of the dragons rolls over. The dojo trembles. But it didn't, I say, and we're here right now. Doesn't that make you believe in Roar? I can't. I want to go home. She almost shouts the words. I've changed. I'm not like you anymore, Arthur. I can't believe in any of this made-up stuff. This time the ground shakes so hard that the rocks crash down into the forest and birds rise up from the trees. The dragons wake up too. They huff and puff and send flames up into the sky to join the flashes of lightning that are exploding across Roar. Rose isn't saying she doesn't believe in Roar to be mean. She's just telling the truth. Rose does everything she can to fit in. Being able to crawl through a camp bed into a magical world isn't fitting in. It's the weirdest thing you could possibly do. I'm sorry, Arthur. I'm not sure if she's saying sorry for giving away the dragons or for pulling apart our incredible world. It's okay. I curl up in my hammock. We'll be home soon, I promise. Then I pull out the blanket over the shoulders. Rose doesn't lie down. She stays where she is, staring across Roar to the end, the light from the stars shining in her face.